Hello, BookTube. Believe it or not, I have books in the mail. I just did a long video about other stuff that I got in the mail, but then I got books. I got packages that are books. It's like a throwback to 2019. And not just one, there are 4 of them here, and one of them's a box. So that's awesome. Let's go through some mail as if the world were still the same as we remember it. Let's see what this first one is. And the first one is a little bit apropos. This is a lovely finished copy of something that I never got an advance copy for. The date on this is the last day of April, but again, you want to keep these release dates in mind. Treat them with a yardstick. Look them up, because they might not be true. The publishing industry is changing release dates all the time. I don't think we ever got this in advance copy, but the name is spoken on this channel every day. This is The Heart, Frida Kahlo in Paris by Mark Pettigene. Lovely thing. Look at that. All hardcovers look this good. So what do we got here? Okay, the first page of the pub sheet, the first entire page, is just exorbitant praise, which is great. I mean, that's not every authors can't command that. So plenty of people had to like this. Though she's one of the most influential and recognizable artists of the 20th century, there's only been one major biography about Frida Kahlo published in 1983. That is absolutely not true. Unless the whole truth of the statement is resting on the word major, which is a bit ambivalent. But that is absolutely not true. There have been a half a dozen biographies of this figure in English. And much of her life remains woefully unexplored. In this book, the author brings to light an oft-ignored but crucial period of the artist's life, her lone year spent in Paris right before the outbreak of World War II. Part biography, part investigation, the idea for The Heart was birthed when the author uncovered that his father had a romantic relationship with Kahlo during her time in Paris. Well, that would spark a book now, wouldn't it? Kahlo arrived in Paris alone. Your face is in the way, little bean. Your face is in the way. It's true. Your face is in the way. Your whole bushy face is in front of this. I can't read it through you, even though it's your namesake. Broken-hearted over her husband's chronic adultery, but also newly financially independent and gaining recognition from selling her art in New York. In Paris, though her exhibition was fraught with frustration, drama, and failed to sell a single piece, she learned how to love, live, and paint again. She spent her days in Paris alongside luminaries such as Picasso, André Breton, Dora Maar, and Marcel Duchamp. At the end of her trip, she gifted Michel one of her paintings, that is, the author's father. The Heart, painted in 1937, a work which brought together major events in her life, including her childhood polio, a terrible accident, and her husband's affair with her sister. Employing the artist's time in Paris as a jumping-off point, the author provides a striking portrait of the artist, transporting readers back and forth in time through her unhappy childhood, persistent health issues, a troubled marriage, many lovers, her involvement with the world politics, particularly the Spanish Civil War, and, of course, her art. Wow. Sounds packed. Sounds absolutely packed. Okay. You're all going to be able to guess already. This is favorable reviews from Publishers Weekly and Booklist and Kirkus. That's awesome. You're all going to be able to guess already one of my initial reactions. Anybody? Actually, there are quite a few new people to this channel, and welcome to you. If you've only watched a couple of my videos, you may be wondering, okay, when does this get good? I'm afraid it doesn't. Feel free to ask anybody who's been here a long time. It's just what you see. It's an old coot who talks about books for inordinate lengths several times every day. The only positive is this adorable little dog, which you will occasionally see on these videos. This is my miniature schnauzer, whose name is Frida. She was not named after Frida Kahlo, but she often appears in my videos, except comic book videos. I have been told she must not appear in comic book videos because there are plenty of people who aren't interested in my 30-minute comic book videos, but they don't want to miss Frida. So they have several dozen of them have made me swear via email. My email is on every video. If you're new to this channel, that is not a gimmick, and it is not a corporate email. Feel free to email me anytime about any subject. If you need a shoulder to cry on, need an ear to bend, book recommendations. I get a lot of emails every day. I might not be able to respond right away, but I will try to respond to everything. I'm in a lot of email correspondence now with people that I actually consider friends, just because they decided to take advantage. Feel free to do that. But a number of people in those emails have said, I don't really care about a 40-year-old issue of The Mighty Thor, but I don't want to miss an appearance of Frida, and I don't want to slog through a video to get to it, because you make sure not to put her in your comic book videos. That's a fairly good request, so I will abide. But anyway, those of you who've been around for a while will know, will probably be able to guess, that I'm not a big fan of this artist, whose artwork is resolutely ugly. But I am a big fan of biographies, so I'll definitely pursue that. This next one is a fairly heavy manila envelope. Could be something nice and big, which would be great. Hi, baby. Do you want to destroy this? You haven't destroyed a package in so long. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, no. 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 Well, she's a little out of practice. What have we got here? Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Oh, wow. All right. This is not a new book. This is an old book. Oh, wonderful. Fantastic. Okay. All right. A little bit of backstory. Everything on this channel has backstory. You're accustomed to 30-minute videos. Those of you who are new to the channel, I am a professional book critic, and forever and ever I have got loads of new books in the mail. Like you're seeing now, only magnified by a factor of 5 or 6 every day. A pile of new books every day. One of the great elements of fun that we have had on this channel over the last 4 years has been to go through my books together. When I get them, I just rip them open and we talk about them together. And I have loved that. Absolutely loved not only the old man experience of just chatting about my mail with people, but also I have loved seeing how in the comments section of those mail hauls, oftentimes people would sound off, oh, that book really looks interesting, when in the video itself it didn't seem interesting to me. I think that's just invaluable. I love it. It's incredibly interesting. And I have done that forever and ever, but the world is in lockdown. There are no shipping and receiving departments. The mail is still going through, but publishers aren't sending books out. A lot of times they're delaying even the appearance of books. And I thought, I have a lot of books here, a lot of old books and a lot of new books, so I thought I could weather that. But my bookstore is closed as well. The Brattle Bookshop here in Boston is closed as well, for the duration. And gradually, I started wanting to buy more books. Now, at the beginning of the year, I set aside a chunk of money, a couple of $100s, for ebooks. And I told myself in January, I will use that for ebooks. But I have been using that money for books online, for printed books online, that I go to various outlets and get them sent to me. And that's what this next one is. And I was doing it through Amazon. And then I watched Shawn D. Standfast. He's another booktuber, and yes, I feel for him. Of course, I'm not laughing at his misery, but he has had some horrible experiences with online booksellers through eBay. And it occurred to me watching a number of his videos that I had not tried eBay in forever and ever. I've just been complacent. I've just gone through Amazon. And I went to eBay and realized that I had an account with them. All the information is up to date. The ordering is extremely easy. They know what they're doing, same as Amazon. They know what they're doing. They know that if they make the process easy, if you don't have to cross the room for your credit card, that sort of thing, you're likely to do more of it. So I confess, out of a perverse curiosity, because Shawn in his videos has been rather vocal about how many frauds and charlatans there are out there selling books under false pretenses, simply lying about what they're selling. And I thought, well, if he can have adventures like that, well, then I want some. Even if they're bad adventures, it might still be fun. So I went on eBay and ordered a few books. Is the long and the short of it. I went on eBay. Actually, it's the long of it. You don't get the short of it on this channel. I went on eBay and ordered a couple of books. And just to see what would happen. See if they come in good shape. They were dirt cheap. If they come in good shape, fine. If they don't, well, then I can ask Shawn for advice. He's got a lot more experience doing this than I do. What are some tip-offs? He's done some very valuable tip-offs on his channel about what gimmicks to look for, what gimmicks publishers might try that you can just look for, to not publishers but sellers, to know that they're lying about the book they have, or to be extra cautious about it, factor in the lie against the smallness of the price, that sort of thing. And so I ordered something. I ordered a few things on eBay, and this is the first of them to appear. This is Odd Jobs by John Updike. in these wonderful floppy trade paperback reprint editions. I have this book in a hardcover. But I have all the others in these trade paperback editions, which I really like. I like these trade paperbacks a lot more than I like the hardcovers, which are of different sizes and creak and smell and whatnot. And I was looking at it on Amazon, and it was expensive. And I found a copy on eBay that wasn't expensive and thought, well, I don't usually care about the editions of books, but in this case, it really does make a difference. I want my update book criticism in these formats. And it's the only one I don't have in this format. I found all the others at the Brattle Bookshop. So I ordered it. And this is just fine. I don't think it would pass muster for someone like Shawn or Jason, at least for their front-facing book collection. Shawn and Jason Harrigan at Byways and Bookland are an extremely fine palette for the condition of a book, but they're also both of them are perfectly happy with reading what they call reading copies. All I deal with is reading copies. I don't care about books as collectible objects, and they don't either in the insufferable way. But this is, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit dirty. I can clean that up, and you can definitely tell that somebody has already owned this. I mean, but it's just fine. No highlighting, nothing missing, nothing that will mar the book when I remove it or clean it. I can clean this up in no time at all. How wonderful! Okay, well, and I don't know if this is a big part of the reason why. Maybe this is a big part of the reason why is that this came from Powell's. You don't know who you're going to get with these things. You don't know who the seller's going to be. I guess you do. You could look through it. You could actually, I bet Shawn does, look through it and particularly patronize certain people who have proven that they're going to send him exactly what they promise, and that they're going to be courteous about it. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the way to do eBay is to pay attention to the vendors and just go back to them, let them prove themselves. But one way or another, this came from Powell's, and they sent me regular updates, letting me know, thanking me for my business, and letting me know where this was in the process and whatnot. And I noticed that I think I ordered 3 other books with this one, and none of the others have done that, and none of the others are here. So maybe the next time I want some old book that's not hard to find, the type of thing I would have got at the Brattle, maybe I will go to Powell's and just order it directly instead of going through eBay. I wonder if that's how Shawn does things. But anyway, I will leave a link to his channel down below, since by now you're probably wondering who this person is. So let's move on. We've got a couple more packages to do here, and then we'll be done with mail. How do you like that? So this next one is one of these big sticky packages that I feel a little bit perverse complaining about them because I don't get any kind of packages now, but they're adhesive on the inside. So you really have to you just have to tear them apart and then put the pieces inside something else, or they will stick to everything. So I will just make this confetti and then stick it inside the Frida Kahlo package. There we go. And we can put all the rest of this in there too. If you're quite finished tearing this apart, we'll put the rest of this in there as well. So that do a little bit of cleanup here. We'll see what this next one is. This is an invoice. I don't like an invoice either. So what have we got here? Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Okay, this is, oh boy, this was a terrific book. Oh, Steve is not blurbed. Oh. Steve is not blurbed. Steve praised this book, but Steve is not blurbed. Well, that's okay. It's still good. This is Jeremy Treglone. This is Mr. Straight Arrow, a biography of John Hersey, the author of Hiroshima, and a bunch of other books. And it's terrific. Just terrific. Fantastic book. I'm a little bit surprised. There's a blurb from the American Scholar, there's a blurb from the New Yorker and Kirkus Reviews, and then the front blurb is the New Republic, Roy Scranton, which was a really good piece on this book. It's in my hardcover. But I'm a little surprised that there aren't more blurbs, because this was written about everywhere. This is it's a picador. It's a very nice trade paperback. Very solid. Wonderful. Fantastic. That will actually, I don't mind at all rereading a book. I often do. I often need no more prompting than this to reread a book. I will gladly reread this. Absolutely. And I will be going through that Updike lovingly, because although I have no patience whatsoever for Updike's fiction, none whatsoever, it's terrible. All of it is terrible. And rapidly being forgotten, which makes me very happy. I predicted that when he was still alive. I predicted that him and Mailer and Roth, that their catalog in bookstores would start to disappear the minute they disappeared. And I've been right about that, and I hope that it continues. I hope that it continues. I hope that other 20th century figures get more prominent. Barbara Pym, Muriel Spark, even Iris Murdoch. Or figures who are really good literarily that didn't get their attention literarily because they're being crowded off the stage by big sexist brontosauruses like Mailer and Updike and Roth, people like John le Carré. It'd be very nice if the book-buying public has no interest anymore in reading the Becht books by Updike. They just aren't interested. All you have to do is read 10 pages to be bored out of your mind by what Updike is doing in any of his fiction. Whereas you pick up a Muriel Spark and you think, oh, all right, there's an active author involved here. I might not always agree with the fictional project or vision that's on hand here, but I love the feeling. I'm not being droned onto by a guy who's writing with one hand, if you know what I mean. I'm not making a Shawn the Book Maniac point here that all of those worthwhile books are written by women and none of them are written by men, but nevertheless, I am happy to have the landscape of the 20th century fictional world, the second half of the 20th century, change over time, where Brontosaurus authors are not around anymore to conduct a continuous rearguard action on their own names. I'm perfectly happy to have figures like Norman Mailer, Gore Vidal, Philip Roth, especially John Updike, decrease and other figures increase. Perfectly happy to have that happen. But Updike's collected book reviews, he did many volumes like this. 5 volumes like this, I think, or more. Boy, this is not in bad shape at all. I see why eBay would get habit for me. His book reviews, he always had a book review going, or more than one, always was at work on book review, on book criticism, even when he was making a mint from his wretched fiction. He was still, always did a book review. Once you get into the habit of doing that, you don't let go, even when you're making all the money in the world. You still will always have a book review in hand somewhere. You'll certainly always be wanted. The more prominent your name is, the more you'll be wanted. Someday it would be great to get John Hersey's book reviews collected in a volume. They never will be, but nevertheless. When I was reading those Updike reviews in the New York Review of Books and the New Yorker and whatnot, I was always pleased with them. And even back then, 30 years ago, I was thinking, gee, isn't this odd that this guy's fiction just never does anything for me? I think it's just contemptibly bad. Whereas his nonfiction, his writing about books is fairly good, fairly engaged. He can be condescending from time to time, especially with women writers. But it's usually very, very good. And that feeling has only grown with time as his fiction recedes. So now I have the whole set. Now I have all of Updike in these trade paperbacks. That's great. But anyway, let's do the box, and then we'll be done. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. Oh my! Oh no! Oh. Okay, the box is not from a publisher. The box is another one of the books that I ordered online, that I ordered myself. Because the form that came with it is not a publisher's invoice. So let's see what they have here. This must be something else that I ordered myself. Let's see what this is. No, this is a present. This is another present. One of you must have done this. How wonderful. How absolutely wonderful. This is an old Everyman's Library classic. I've mentioned on this channel a few times how much I love these volumes, these hardcovers. And you people are so nice to me. I just can't get over this. A while ago, I showed you a Dostoevsky novel in an old Everyman Library collection. I wonder if I have it here. Yes, I think I do. Pardon the boarding house reach here. Let me go off camera for just a second. A while ago, I showed you this. The Idiot by Dostoevsky. I found it in a little free library, read it, and loved it. And at the time, I praised this Everyman classic edition. I said, I really, really like these. This is the Pavillon Volkonsky translation of The Idiot. And look at this. It's The Adolescent by Dostoevsky. The Pavillon Volkonsky translation. Look at that. Incredible. These old Everyman libraries have the built-in bookmark. They have the sewn bindings. They're really nice, really solid volumes, and I love these cover designs. I think the only cover design I might like a little more are the ones here that have these paintings with the title and the author superimposed on them. There's one earlier cover design, the batch right before the cover design went to this, where it was simply black and white. I wonder if I have one of those. I think it. Where it was simply black and white. And I like that, if anything, maybe just a tiny bit more. But those are hard to find. I never see them in used bookstores. I would love the Boswell's Life of Johnson in that format. But I shouldn't say that because one of you will buy it. Good Lord. Look at that. That's incredible. All right, so that is our book haul. And I think it is, in its own way, a sign of the times. Because we have two new books. Frida Kahlo's Year in Paris. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Might not be my favorite artist. And I might not know that much about her life compared to a few other people. But this will be fascinating to read. And also the trade paperback of Mr. Straight Arrow, which I cannot recommend strongly enough to you. You can't get this at your bookstore. But if the publisher can send this to me, they can send it to you. So this is Picador, and I can tell you, you can't really make it out on this video, but it is a really good, solid trade paperback. It's really well done, with a vaguely textured cover, and it's a first-rate literary biography. So you could order it from Picador, and they would probably appreciate that. And so that was half the book haul, was stuff from publishers, the way things used to be, and then the other half is books bought online, which so much of us are exploring more now than we ever have. One by me, Odd Jobs by John Updike, a nice big fat collection of literary essays, literary considerations, reviews of books of the moment and whatnot, that I will put on the books about books shelf and the collected book reviews shelf that I have there. I love it. I spend a lot of time at that shelf, and the Updikes, you can't see it here, but the Updikes are all these trade paperbacks except for Odd Jobs. It's the only one that's not. So I'll pull that copy of Odd Jobs off. Ordinarily, this would be the point when I would offer to send it to one of you, but we're not making frivolous trips to post offices, although maybe we're ordering things for each other online. And so I got that, and I also got this, a Dostoevsky novel that I haven't read. In fact, the last time I read The Adolescent was when this was new, and I read this translation. When was that? That was the last time I read this. This is not a Dostoevsky novel I know well at all. 2003. 2003 was the last time I read this. Good Lord. So that'll go right on the list. I will read. All of these things will be on the list, but it's interesting that they are a mixture now of stuff straight from publishers and stuff bought with actual money. So, I can't wait to see what kind of pattern unfolds from that. But anyway, there you go. That was some book mail to end the week. The last mail haul of the week was actually pretty much the first mail haul of the week, but that's it for now. I will be back. I will sign off for now and go glom over these books. I cannot thank whoever sent me the Dostoevsky. I cannot thank you enough. These old Everyman hardcovers, whether they have these artistic covers or the black and white covers, are definite bullseyes. Definite. I have only a handful. I used to have so many of them. I don't have Boswell's Life of Johnson. I don't have any Dickens except David Copperfield. I have Pride and Prejudice. I don't have any other Jane Austen. I don't have any. I don't have a lot, but that's okay. I don't need a lot. I have a whole wall of Penguins. I have these books already. I have The Adolescent in a Penguin Classic, but now I have it in this thing, and it's their translation, which are always interesting, even if I don't particularly like them. Wow. Okay. I don't have their Crime and Punishment, and I don't have their Brothers Karamazov, and those are both in. Okay. Well, anyway, that is a mail haul. Believe it or not, in the midst of a pandemic. Who knows if these days will ever return, but I'm very happy to have your company when I open my mail. So I'm going to wrap this up and exercise my little bean. But that's not a euphemism. Get your mind out of the gutter, okay? I meant the little dog I showed you. I'm gonna take Frida for a walk, and I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.